The world's best are here at the red clay courts of Paris.
Nadal and Djokovic. Doesn't get any better than that.
Hi, this is Drew Dinsick of NBC Sports Edge here with Kenny Ducey to break down our best looks for round one of the French Open. We have 64 matches to choose from, Kenny. The round one matches all look very enticing. We can easily find 5 that we agree are solid value for round one. Where are you going first on the board?
Yeah, looking forward to disagreeing a little bit during the tournament, but I think we're pretty aligned on round one. The first bet that I really like is Denis Shapovalov as a very short favorite at -145 against Holger Rune. This kid, look, I think ever since Carlos Alcaraz went from, pimple-faced teenager, just kind of struggling to win on tour to the GOAT, in like 3 months, the books have been trying to get ahead of every single young player who maybe could have a similar breakthrough into the top 10. Holger Rune, very talented, but really lacks the main draw success. He did win a title this year in a meaningless Germany clay court tournament in Germany, basically because Alexander Zverev, who never plays well in Munich, was disinterested. That was what basically gave him the title. And I think he will fold into himself in a Grand Slam setting against Denis Shapovalov, who's starting to pick up his play, playing some decent tennis on the clay overall for his career, 66 and 36 across all levels. I'm going off here on a tangent, but yes, Denis Shapovalov, I think, beats Holger Rune. I really like your next play on slightly older matchup, Drew.
Yeah, well, I agree with you on Shapo. I think he's due for a deep run here. What was lost in his head-to-head win over Nadal was his form. Everybody focusing on Nadal's injury, but he played really well in that match. That said, we will move on, and I like Pablo Andujar. Every once in a while you see 2 players qualify for this tournament who are well out of form. This is one of those matches. It's not going to be pretty on the eyes, but Pablo Andujar taking on Marco Cecchinato. Cecchinato famously made a run to the semifinals here, beating Djokovic several years ago. Since then, however, he has been an absolute disaster on tour. His game has completely fallen apart. His 2022 campaign up until his performances in Geneva were horrific. And realistically, Andujar should be about -140 in this match. You're catching a value price on him at -120 right now at PointsBet. And again, as we get closer to this match starting, I would expect that you see this number tick up back up closer to the opener of -135, -140. That said, Andujar wins a tough one in an ugly match, 3-1, in my opinion, over a Marco Cecchinato, who is just wildly overrated because of recent success. How about a third look for you?
Yeah, well, I was going to say, as someone who has faded Andujar before just based on his age or, he can't possibly keep playing tennis at this level. This guy just continues to play some excellent tennis. He is a very frustrating person to fade, so being on the right side there, I think, would be pretty fun. Dominic Thiem is my next play. -115, he's playing Hugo Dellien. You want to talk about a guy who doesn't really have a lot of main draw success. Hugo Dellien has had plenty of success at the challenger level, has really never translated it at the main level. I really do think there are only a few players in this draw that Dominic Thiem could beat, but I do think Dellien is one. He's going to give him a lot of unforced errors. And trust me, I'm the first one. I've been fading Dominic Thiem, making a lot of money over the last month or so, but I think this is where he finally gets his first win. Let's also be realistic. He's not that far off of his game. He's not going to be a top 10 player, maybe not even ever again, right? But he's not that far off where he would lose to Hugo Dellien in embarrassing fashion. I think Thiem's got enough in the tank here. He's starting to find his game just a little bit. He came really close to that first win. I think he gets it here at Roland Garros, where he's gone to the final before. And so how about you with your next pick? I hear the sources are telling me you're going Borna Coric. Haven't heard that name in a long time.
Similar kind of handicap here, really. Dominic Thiem, Borna Coric, both players who if you've been handicapping tennis for a while, they're familiar names. If you are wondering what happened to these guys, they're both coming off of long injury layoffs and have yet to really recover their form. That said, I agree with you on Thiem. He has shown flashes. Similarly, I think Coric is giving us the sign that his ability to find his previous form is really on the cusp. And to make matters even better, I think he got a pretty decent draw here, getting Carlos Taberner in round one. Taberner is a guy that I think of as decent at the challenger level, but really wilts when it comes to best of 5 in terms of quality. So Borna Coric, I think, gets on the right track here, starts to recoup some of the money, starts to recoup some of those very critical ranking points, so he can make it into the main draws without qualifying and kind of get his career back on track. Coric is a guy whose game, in my opinion, is best on slow hard court and clay. And I I think he's going to be able to find the form to get through to round 2 here and maybe even make some noise in this tournament. So it's somewhat of a sentimental pick. I want to see Coric succeed. He's a guy I especially like and kind of won a lot of money with him when he came up. So Coric for me is a fair play at plus 100. I make his fair price in that one minus 125. So we are down. That's 4 solid picks. We're looking at a good mix there of chalk and underdogs, but there's one underdog on the board that I think we agree is probably the most solid play in round 1, and I will let you take it away. What is your best bet for round 1, Kenny?
Yeah, it's got to be Tommy Paul here as an underdog at plus 102. This is the price that we're getting. This is his favorite surface. He loves playing clay. He's one of the junior boys singles here in clay. Everyone beats that drum to death. And look, he's really yet to have the success of the French Open that he's wanted to have, but he's lost in 3 straight years to Dino Medvedev last year, who had a good run here. Dominic Thiem in 2019, who made the final. And in 2020, Casper Ruud, who's one of the best clay court players around. I do think that this will be a little different here this time. He's lacking in form just a little bit coming into this tournament. I think that's why we're getting him at plus money. But Cristian Garin, look, I mean, he has pretty much one impressive win over Marin Cilic. He's really struggled all year long. His form has been very, very bad. He's picked it up lately with a few wins, but I mean, Drew, he's not a guy that we can really trust here as a favorite. You don't want to be laying money or laying juice on Cristian Garin here in the first round, do you?
No. And certainly agree with you. Tommy Paul is a guy that's flying a little bit under the radar, U.S. player. He is, believe it or not, 34-29 over the last year. And he has some very impressive wins on his resume this season in particular. He made it to, he got 2 wins in Indian Wells. He got 2 wins in Miami. Those were both absolutely stocked with high quality opponents, and he did well to go deep into those tournaments. And as you mentioned, clay is his best surface. He's got the game to really frustrate, in my opinion, and really expose some of the weaknesses of Cristian Garin. It may take 5 sets, but I think Tommy Paul is a very fair play at plus 102. My fair price for him is minus.
He's no stranger. Minus 115 is a good one there. I was going to say he's no stranger to these opening round 5-set matches. It seems like every single year he goes 4 or 5 sets in the first round. So this should be fun.
Yep. And, as we remember, of course, last year, he had a very phenomenal, 10-8 in the 5th set to get past his round 1 opponent. Wouldn't shock me if that's in the cards as well. So maybe I'll sprinkle a little over on top of the Tommy Paul money line for this one. But that is a great look. Kenny, thank you for all the insight. Best of luck in round 1 and best of luck for this fortnight. This is again Drew Dinsick and Kenny Ducey of NBC Sports Edge. Be sure to catch us as we break down the French Open every day for the rest of these 2 weeks, and look forward to handicapping the rest of this tournament with you.